All right, this will be the day trading recap for Monday, August 10th, 2026. So, looking at the market, we are at all time highs. We've had a massive rally 2 weeks ago and at the beginning of last week, where we have since balanced. The balance is not completely clear, but you can see it's pretty much been from this high to this low, with just a little bit peaking above. So my main thing was I was watching balance reversals first. To the upside, I was watching anywhere from this 87 previous day high up to the 7,800 level, and then to the downside, I was really just watching like the 30s to the 25s. And then if we were to break out of balance, I would be okay with taking continuations. So that was the plan today. Let's get into it. So the market opens up decently volatile for the first like 5 minutes, has a big rejection, then we just do nothing. And we start to rally on really slow volume. Um, at this point, I'm watching for a potential high of day failed break into that 7,787 level to reject. Don't really get any type of entry there. Um, End up getting my first entry just rejecting off of this 90 level, which is just in that key area. So let's go ahead and get into that first entry. Okay, so we see some absorption up here, some buyer absorption. Large buyers up there, followed by an aggressive sell off. Ideally, we want to see a retest into here, get exhausted. I get an entry, and then we go. Um, Now, when I was watching the setup, we had this thick bid right here and this thick bid right here that I wanted to watch for a break. Um, like before I get in, I'm seeing this absorption, but in order for this to validate, I wanted to see this bid break with aggressive selling. It did. So when that happens, I got maybe slightly antsy. I didn't wait for a retest all the way up here. I thought it was going to go without me. So when we got this little pullback and saw this exhaustion right here, see that tiny buyer, and then this selling started to come in, I went ahead and got in with a stop just right here. Entry at 85.25, entry right down here. Um, Pretty much needing to see this bid break pretty quickly for that downside to continue. Here's that bid again. Here's that aggressive selling coming in. Um, yeah, that initial absorbed buyer right here. And yeah, that ended up moving in my favor a few points, like a point and a tick. And then I stopped out. I guess I did take full loss on that. I thought I stopped out early, but yeah, I took 2 points and a tick on that. Nothing crazy, especially with lower size. Um, and I went lower size just because of how the tape was developing. Not very clear, just choppy. Um, and it wasn't an A plus entry either. Like I said, I would have rather had a little bit more of a retest. But anyways, here's kind of how that entry ended up happening. Sellers got absorbed down at that bid, and we got an aggressive pullback right up into that key level. Now this was kind of the original entry I was watching for. I wish I would have just stayed patient on this to set up the first time. But it is what it is. When you're trading, you have to make split-second decisions, and it's not about being perfect and being right all the time. But this is the ideal entry. We get a break of those bids after some absorption and strong selling, pull back into the level. Ideally, we see exhaustion here. This is a bit more of absorption, but with this strong selling coming in, that's enough for me to get in. Stop loss at 89.75, just above this buying. Entry was down at 87.25. Let's get these real quick. Basically, just a re-entry of that initial setup. You can see that absorption that I just talked about right there. Rejecting from this previous day high, balance high. And then, yeah, that pretty much right after that started, right after I get in, we come back up, absorb seller buyers again, start to sell off. At this point, I'm thinking, all right, this already retested my entry once. If it comes up again, I'm probably going to stop myself out, because if this selling failed twice here, my timing is probably off. So I ended up cutting that at um, 92.50, which hold on. Oh, my bad. I'm completely looking at the wrong entry. So I got in at 87.25 and I stopped out at 89.25, right in here. So I took a 2 point loss on that after I decided that my timing was probably off. Cut that short and waited for the next potential setup. So yeah, lost 2 points on that. So then price rallies again. We start to see selling coming in one more time. So I try this again, a little bit higher. Let's look at the entry. And keep in mind, I'm 2 losses in at this point, but I'm only down 4 points in a tick. So we've kept it extremely small. Okay, so what do we see here? Absorption, sell-off, exhaustion. In hindsight, I really don't love this entry. This selling is not actually that aggressive. We have this bid sitting right here. But we do have an exhaustion print. We do have absorption. Just this selling was not super significant. It's not a bad trade. It's not an A+ trade either. I don't know if I would take this one again. My entry was at 90.75, right about here. Stop loss was at 93, right here. I ended up cutting that at 92.5. You can see just immediately after my entry, like, it just died. Like, you can see that see that seller right there at that bid? Still right there. Did not get a push any lower than that. Just started coming up. I realized this is a stupid entry and I got out. So we lost 1.75 points on that. So we're down 6 points on the day for 3 losses. Reduced risk on all of them. Not mad about that at all. I will say some of the entries were not as good. That is something to take into consideration, and I do want to be more picky going forward. But they weren't terrible also. And then one more thing I want to talk about is, there's that, just so you can see how much I lost. We finally get up to the top of the balance. We're 3 points away from that 700-800 level. Price rejects really hard and sells off. I start watching this for an entry because, oopsies. Let's look at the tape here. We see that absorption. We see aggressive selling. This is the first true aggressive selling print that we really see. Like, compare it to, this was that last trade I took. Compare this sell-off to this sell-off. This is like 3 points. This is like 6 points. And then it goes again. So at this point, I'm waiting for a retest to come up, exhaust, and then I can get my entry short. What happens is it sells off 15 points without me, doesn't give me any chance to enter, and now we've been consolidating again. And I am not going to take any more trades today. So it sucks. My timing was off. When it finally did work out, I didn't get an entry, even though I was looking for one. That could have brought me back to break even and probably green on the day. I was only down 6 points. I think I could have taken a 8 to 10 point winner on that at least. But it is what it is. It's not. This game is not about being perfect. It's not about catching everything. It's about doing repeatable, consistent things and following your rules and accepting the outcomes. And today, the outcome that I have to accept is not ideal, but it's also not a blown account. It's not a red day that's going to crush me. I can easily make this red day back with one good trade. I could have made it back with this trade if I was presented an opportunity to catch it. So yeah, it is what it is. Looking at today as an opportunity to be a good loser and to learn and to get 1% better. So that's it for this one. We might be back tomorrow, and after that, I'm going to be off for a few days. But yeah, let's keep it up.